Hi, I'm John Persinos, Editorial Director of Investing Daily. Welcome to my latest video presentation for Tuesday, August 23rd. You know, when Republican Mormons in Utah embrace psychedelics, you know a pharmaceutical revolution is afoot. Brad Daw, a Mormon and former GOP Utah State Representative, recently spoke about his positive spiritual experiences on the psychedelic plant medicine known as ayahuasca. Daw is an active bishop with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he participated in an ayahuasca ceremony in Costa Rica, where the consumption of the sacred psychedelic brew is traditional and legal. As an investor, you don't need a crystal ball to see ayahuasca gummies on the horizon. While the exact course that these healing plants and psychedelic trends will travel can't be exactly predicted, of course, any company with a foothold in the emerging ayahuasca market is worth consideration as an investment. Bishop Daw detailed his experience on the podcast The Jimmy Rex Show earlier this month. Daw said that he felt an overwhelming feeling of peace, and that at times he felt as though he were weightless and laying in a puddle of light. Daw describes his ayahuasca journey as a positive experience that culminated in a deep sense of gratitude towards God, who would keep finding ways to help his children. As Daw put it, "The church doesn't own my experiences," and he found that his experience with ayahuasca strengthened his faith and religious perspective. Biotech investors and big pharma are pouring millions of dollars into psychedelics-based treatments that aren't even legal yet. DMT, LSD, and psilocybin fall under the general category of psychedelic drugs, but each contains different psychotropic chemical substances that affect the brain in similar but nonetheless different ways. By rearranging neural pathways and blood flows in the brain, these drugs suppress the tyranny of the ego and allow repressed intuitions and subconscious emotions to surface, creating a vision of unity in which all things, including the self, are subsumed into a feeling of oneness. Does that sound corny? Does that sound like a Hallmark card? Well, millions of people swear by these experiences, and their ranks are growing, even reaching into corporate suites. Consumers nowadays, even members of the establishment, are finding out what all the fuss was about way back in the 1960s. Big Pharma is taking notice with massive investments in psychedelics research. The cannabis legalization movement continues to develop momentum and is awakening public consciousness about other healing plants known as entheogenic plants. The term entheogenic was recently coined as a way to describe plant-based drugs used in sacred ceremonies. Ayahuasca is a DMT drug, i.e. a hallucinogenic tryptamine that occurs naturally in many plants and animals. DMT also is referred to as the spirit molecule because it can convey an intense mystical experience. The United States government currently doesn't acknowledge DMT to have any medicinal value, but does consider it to be significantly risky, even though scientific research has shown these drugs to be less risky than, say, alcohol. DMT remains a Schedule I substance, and possession is a federal crime. Ayahuasca trips are broadly similar to those brought about by classic psychedelic drugs such as psilocybin or LSD. While ayahuasca trips are similar in that they allow access to an extreme sense of spiritual knowing, they guide the taker on a more organized, emotionally productive journey of personal catharsis. Ayahuasca is more likely than LSD or psychedelic mushrooms to result in crying, epiphanies, and a post-trip spirituality that lasts. It's recommended that ayahuasca be done in small, trustworthy groups led by an experienced shaman. The drug's legal status is highly irregular. More and more states and localities are legalizing it. While there is some religious immunity and gray area in this country, many people, they travel to Latin America or South America to consume the plant brew where it is traditional, potent, and legal. While the market for psychedelics won't have as many repeat customers as cannabis, it's still set up for widespread popularity and profit-making as an alternative to pharmaceutical dependence. Entheogenic plants have an extremely high success rate for treating post-traumatic stress disorder, addiction, depression, and mental illness. Microdosing of DMT-like compounds, similar to the active compounds in ayahuasca, are bound to be part of our pharmaceutical future. Looking for ways to profit from the fascinating trends I've just described? I urge you to read my new book, The Wide World of Weed and Psychedelics. My book is your definitive guide for making money in the thriving cannabis and psychedelics industries. To get your copy, just click the URL at the bottom of the article that accompanies this video on the Investing Daily website. You'll find my new book a real trip, a trip to the bank, that is.